Hey, so I saw that GeForceNOW has a free tier. I wasn't really aware of this, but the free tier apparently is actually free. You don't have to put in any credit card information. So I did a little bit of Googling and I found this article on SteamDeckGaming.net showing how to set it up for the Steam Deck. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to make a video trying this out for the first time. Um, I'm not quite sure this is going to be a how-to guide from my point, but maybe follow along with this and see if we can get it running and check it out. Do a little review and see how well the free tier works on the Steam Deck. Okay, so it looks like the first thing we want to do is install Chrome, which is interesting because I thought that Chromium was the open source version of Chrome for Linux, but this must be the proprietary Google Chrome one. Okay, so I'm going to let this install and then we'll get to the next step. Okay, so now we need to give Chrome read-only access to run udev, I guess. Okay. I'm copying all this off of the instructions that I showed in the introduction. So this looks like I'm saying, okay, give my user whatever application I put in here as the option next access to udev read-only. So it can read this, but it can't write to it for Chrome. Let's see. Flatpak user override file system. Okay, so this says this will allow the Steam Deck controller layouts to interact with the browser. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so now we need to add a non-Steam game. Add a game. Add a non-Steam game. Chrome. Select Google Chrome. Okay. Okay, now we need to go to the properties for the shortcut you added and add some command line arguments. Okay, is that in launch options? Head to the properties for the shortcut you just added and add some command line arguments. There are two options. Command line arguments. Is that supposed to be in launch options? It does not say in these instructions. Launch options. Kiosk. Window size. Yeah. I wonder if I add it to this or if I replace it. I'm going to guess that I add it. Okay. Google Chrome, let's see. I'm going to move myself over here so we could see. Well, hopefully we just need to add it. Window size is 1024 by 640. Interesting. Okay. Force device scale factor 1.25. Okay. Device scale factor 1.25. Kiosk is recommended. And then the URL. I should probably spell it right. GeForceNOW.com. Okay, let's see. Device scale factor, kiosk, device scale factor, force device scale factor, window size, 1024, 650. Okay, then rename it to GeForceNOW Okay. Let's see. Is there a save or something? I'm gonna hide myself. Okay. That looks good. Let's see. Do we need to do anything else? Okay, I don't have an account yet, but let's just, for posterity's sake, see if this actually works. So this should start Chrome. Nope. Nope. In kiosk mode. Okay. Let me get my big old watermelon head out of the way. I can't duck it. Agree and continue. Okay, so I will come back and we'll see if we can set this up. Okay, so here we are. We logged in. Let's see if I can get to my games. So games is the splash screen. What I want to see is just my library. This is it. The whole library is just... What? Okay, well, we're going to mess around with this. We're going to see if we need to sync or something, and then we'll try again to see the library. Okay, so here we are. We're back in game mode now, and I have a mouse, I guess. I wonder if you're supposed to be able to interact with this with the joysticks. I don't actually know what the intended purpose is. I thought that maybe that flat pack command would help us. But let's see. So I want to see if I can get Destiny to run, because that game is notoriously not something you can play on the Steam Deck. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm in a queue, I guess. So if I pay, I'm not in this queue. I wonder if it depends on the game. If you know, will you let me know in the comments? So 30 gamers ahead of me. I wonder if this counts towards my 1 hour of free tier game time. Also, the free tier, I didn't have to put in any credit card information at all. So it looks like it's legitimately free. Okay, well, I'm going to pause, and when we get into the game, I'll come back. Okay, so that took about 5 minutes. I was number 30 in line, but this is pretty weird. So this is my Steam library with only Destiny in it. I'm in the GeForceNOW game in game mode, and if I go to click play, oh, and I had to log back into Steam too, which was annoying. This says you may permanently lose all your game progress. So I'm not going to do that, but this is a very strange experience, so maybe we'll try a different game. So here we are trying Lost Ark. So it actually froze the first time in my library, and I had to reload the web page. So the kiosk mode can be a little annoying, it seems, if you actually have to do navigation with the browser, because you don't have a keyboard plugged in. So that is something to know. But this, I've been sitting here on this screen for about 5 minutes now, so I'll get back and see what happens. But this is a very strange experience so far. Okay, so here we are again. So that syncing thing, shutting down my previous game session, that took about 10 minutes. And now it looks like what these games are doing is they're loading up my Steam profile on their hardware, their cloud hardware. And this is for Lost Ark, and I got the same issue. So I don't care about my save for Lost Ark, so we're going to roll with this. But I did a little Googling and reading on the official GeForce forums and on Reddit, and this is a known issue, and it has a problem to do with GeForceNow's cloud sync. So we're going to see what happens when we play this game. Okay, so I'm going to let this load, and then I'll come back in the next portion of the video. Okay, so yet another weird and annoying impasse. The Lost Ark anti-cheat installation ran, finished, went back to my Steam Splash UI. I sat there for about another 10 minutes. The game Lost Ark said running. Nothing was happening. There was no executable that came up. Lost Ark wasn't visible on the screen. So I decided, okay, I'm going to stop it and restart it. I stopped it, restarted it. I guess that triggers somehow on GeForceNow's cloud hardware to say that I stopped the game, and it kicked me out of the game back to the GeForceNow screen, and now I'm 39 in line. So this is not going well so far. Okay, so that took about 15 minutes just to get through the queue. And now we're back on this Steam installation that's on their cloud hardware. And I've been staring at this launching thing for about 5 minutes now. So we'll keep waiting and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I plugged in a keyboard just in case maybe it's in a separate tab or something, but it's not. It's just stuck on this Steam page with sort of a shade overlay over it, like the game is starting, nothing is happening. This is a pretty bad experience so far. Okay, so that worked. If you select a Ubisoft game, we're actually playing the game, and my control configuration that I selected is working. So I am using the game mode gamepad, like I'm holding A right now. So let's see. I'm going to get through this intro and then we'll get to some gameplay. Okay, so I abandoned that completely. I think that Steam games, running them, at least through Chrome and the instructions that I used, is a very bad experience on GeForceNow on the Steam Deck. I don't know what I'm doing wrong necessarily. Maybe if I get out of kiosk mode, I can see if we have a slightly different experience. But I'm going to try a Ubisoft game now, and we're going to see if maybe that ends up working. Okay, so here we are in a game. This doesn't have any noticeable input lag at all. So, if I press swing, it's immediate. That was immediate. I don't have gigabit internet. I think I have probably about 120 down realistically if I run a speed test on Wi-Fi. So this is, about average American broadband internet. And this is running really well. All of the inputs work how they should work. But I will say that I think that our experience with the Steam games that I had was very bad. And I'm not sure if it's just something happening right now on the networking side with GeForceNow. Maybe it's how I configured this to run in Chrome. But it can't be because of the command that I ran in the console to allow Chrome to access the game controller pad, because obviously that's working right now. So if you know how it's supposed to function when you play games on Steam through GeForceNow, please let me know in the comments, because it's not working out of the box as far as I can tell. It's a very strange experience, and I'm not quite sure how to fix that. If I do figure it out, I'll make a follow-up video to talk about exactly what you need to do to get Steam to work. But if you're a casual gamer or you wanted to recommend this to somebody who had a Steam Deck, I think that it's a little bit too big of a pain for me to say that you should buy it immediately. I think that you should absolutely use the free tier and see if it's something that you want to pay for, if you can get the Steam version to run. But I am actually impressed with the gameplay, right? This looks about as the same fidelity that you get running on the Steam Deck hardware, and you get a lot better battery life because you're just running it in Chrome, right? So let me know if you use GeForceNow on the Steam Deck, what your experience has been. Do you play games on Steam? And if so, give me some tips in the comments. Okay, so after making that video during the day, I wanted to give it another shot last night at around 9 o'clock. And I just said, I'm going to start Lost Ark. I'm going to put the Steam Deck down and let it sit for... I was willing to let it sit for an entire hour. And I actually got into the game. So today I wanted to recreate this, and I wanted to time exactly how long it took. So after I waited in the queue and the Steam overlay came up that said that there was a sync problem, after clicking that, it took exactly 8 minutes of sitting there and watching the game running and nothing happening for the game to actually load on the hardware. So that's not waiting in a queue, just, the games come up, I'm ready to play. After that point, it was 8 minutes until the loading screen for the game came up. So as you can see, I'm actually playing the game. Last night, I ran around, I killed some things. Let's see. There's no lag, just like on the Assassin's Creed demo that I ran. But that having been said, now with the fact that you can actually play the game, I wanted to chat a little bit about the free tier and whether or not it's worth paying. So I did a little bit of research and reading on the NVIDIA forums and a little bit more on Reddit about this particular issue with the cloud sync. This seems to be ubiquitous, not just for the Steam Deck, it's for GeForceNOW playing Steam games, and it's not happening, allegedly, on other cloud gaming platforms that also interface with Steam. So it looks like it is related to GeForceNOW, and I couldn't find a lot of reports of this older than about a month. So it's relatively recent. Maybe they're working on fixing it and I just hit the timing with it, but for the time being it does exist, and I think that because of that, I wouldn't recommend paying for this. I was willing to risk it with Lost Ark, and I think obviously because Destiny is a live service game, they're not relying solely on Steam cloud saves. They have their own server infrastructure. But if you were to play this with games that did rely on Steam cloud save, I wouldn't want to risk losing that for $20 a month to play this. And from what I understand, the priority paid hardware is higher class GPU. So I don't know if that necessarily solves the 8-minute loading problem that we saw for Lost Ark. That is very unusual. So maybe I will pay for a month of it and try it out to see if it's much different, but that's also still restricted playtime. The free tier is 1 hour, but the paid tier I think is 4 or 8 hours. I'll have to go look it up. But yeah, I think that this was not a good experience. I think that specifically for people playing on the Steam Deck, the only real reason that you would want GeForceNOW is to play games that are not compatible with the Steam Deck due to anti-cheat, and that is Lost Ark and Destiny. Those are the two big ones. And then you could play Fortnite on this also. I don't really know the state of anti-cheat for Fortnite on the Steam Deck, but Fortnite would be available. And the experience playing those is kind of annoying on the free tier. So you also have to take into account that many people have data caps. So you're saving battery life on the Steam Deck, but you're using up a lot of data. And if you have a data cap, that could be actual money that you have to spend because you've gone over your data allotment for the month. So let me know if you pay for GeForceNOW, if you have had a different experience than I have. But in my opinion, that weird error about cloud sync saves being permanently deleted and 8 minutes loading, not with the queue, I would say that this is not very good, and I would not recommend it from my experience with GeForceNOW.